You know, Lisa is really lucky to have such a gorgeous mom. My daughter looks like my wife. What a poor girl.
My husband always putting me and our daughter down. He keeps going on about how cute his niece are all the time. But the most disappointing one here is you. Seriously, you need to get a clue. My name's Marie. I'm in my late 40s and a working mother. My daughter's name is Serena. She is a middle school student and is busy studying every day. Scott, my husband, is a middle-aged office worker. He always comes home from work as a middle manager and starts venting about how tough it is. I can tolerate him venting about work stress, but that's not all. Seems like he likes staking out his frustrations on his own family. Anyway, Scott openly insults me and our daughter. He complained almost every day that my cooking was bad. He even criticized every meal. Even though he finished every meal, he still complained afterward, saying the house isn't clean enough. He'd run his finger along the windowsills, saying, "There's still dust here. Do it again." Feels like he's straight out of some old drama. And to top it off, he'd say things like, "You're just a lousy wife no matter what you do." He complains even about the way I polish glasses, so it's getting really tiresome. But it doesn't stop there. He treated our daughter just as badly. Despite being his own daughter, he finds fault in everything she does. Once she's in middle school, she's supposed to be conscious of her appearance. But even if she changes just one hairstyle, he says, "That doesn't suit you." And if she decides on a club activity, he says, "Quit that pointless club." Even if she got good test grades, he criticized her, saying, "What are these grades? You should try harder." He never praises her. When Scott starts stalking, family time becomes the worst time. Both my daughter and I were getting fed up with Scott's behavior. One day, we decided to visit my in-laws during the long weekend. Scott's brother and his family live with my in-laws, so we didn't go often. Rick, my brother-in-law, is kind and a really good person. His daughter Lisa is in the same grade as Serena, and she's also a very nice girl. Serena and Lisa are very close friends. But there are problems in this household too. Alice, my brother-in-law's wife, is so beautiful that she could be a model. I wondered why Alice, such a beautiful woman, married Rick, who had the same normal face as Scott. But she's quite stubborn, a bit too much. She often made remarks that belittle me.
Marie, you know your makeup skills are so poor, aren't they? Oh, sorry. Is it because no matter how hard you try, you still look shabby? I often get complimented for looking beautiful even without makeup.
This is just the tip of the iceberg, the least harmful level.
Lost some weight again? No matter what I eat, I just can't seem to gain any. Marie has got a big-sized figure. What on earth does she eat to look like that? I was walking in the downtown area when someone asked me if I wanted to be a model. It's such a hassle to turn down these offers. Marie seems to never have to deal with that, which I envy. The other day, when I was walking with my daughter, someone mistook us for sisters. It was so embarrassing. But Marie always looks like a mom, doesn't she?
She effortlessly throws insults as if exhaling. Alice is truly beautiful, with a stunning figure. I'll give her that. Her stories are probably true. But seriously, does she need to put me down every time? Every time, Rick gets mad and says, "What are you saying? That's rude." But it's like talking to a brick wall. Alice giggled, "Well, because it's true." Well, I can tolerate that much, or even just laugh it off. But sometimes there's a chemical reaction. Mix it the wrong way, and Scott switch flips.
Well, you know, Alice, My wife really lacks charm.
You are old too. Your hair looks like a QR code. Alice's daughter, Lisa, also perfectly inherits Alice's genes and is quite a beauty. She's in the same grade as my daughter, Serena, but she seems very mature, almost like a high school or college student. Stylish and beautiful, Serena really adores Lisa. While Lisa resembles Alice in appearance, fortunately, she takes after Rick in terms of personality. She is very kind and caring without looking down on anyone. My daughter always says with sparkling eyes, being beautiful with a good personality is the ultimate power. Her favorite cousin was also her dream. Thanks to that, Serena has become quite refined. Though she doesn't wear makeup, she's become stylish enough with her hair and attire without violating school rules. She spends at least 30 minutes in front of the mirror before heading to school. That stopped her from sleeping in. My in-laws are good people, and going to their house where my in-laws, Rick and Lisa, live is not unpleasant. However, Alice and my husband's attitude alone bothers me. Neither Rick nor I can get through to them. I wonder if there's a good way to reform these two with sharp tongues. Before I could come up with any good ideas, this visit to my in-laws happened.
Oh, Marie, you seem to have aged again. You have more wrinkles than I do. If we walk together, people might think I'm younger than you.
Within 3 minutes of opening the door to my in-laws' house, Alice fired off her first self-aggrandizing and disparaging remark towards me. It looks like this visit will be a dreary one again.
Marie, are you taking care of your skin properly? Don't be stingy with moisturizer. When I went to the cosmetics counter, the clerk said that I had perfect skin.
Well, is it going to be like this again today? I'm starting to feel fed up. I shifted my attention to my daughter. Serena and Lisa were studying together, spreading their reference books. They won't be able to see each other when they get busy with studies and club activities. Since we'll probably skip both summer vacation and Christmas holidays, they will see each other next time when they're high school students. Understanding this, Serena decided to come with me today. Without being too intrusive, I peeked at their notebooks, revealing an array of incomprehensible numbers. I managed to teach them until they were in elementary school, but the study of middle school was beyond my understanding. Did I really study this stuff? It's like a whole different world. It seems Serena is teaching Lisa. Come to think of it, my daughter was good at math. As I watched, Lisa, with her cute, sparkling eyes, looked at Serena.
Wow, Serena's way of teaching is so easy to understand. I'm not good at math, but it's probably the first time I've really understood it. Serena's better at teaching than the teacher.
Praised by her favorite person, Serena didn't seem entirely displeased. Blushing with happiness, she replied, "It's nothing like that." But someone wasn't amused. Then Alice stepped in.
Well, it's no surprise that a plain-looking girl is good at plain old studying.
There was one person who nodded at the words. Unfortunately, that included my husband.
Yeah, that's right. Serena may look unfortunate, but at least she's good at studying. You are hopeless.
Yeah. Is Serena even related to Lisa? Well, Lisa's cuteness must come from me. It's impossible for you to have a cute child, considering your mother is not exactly a beauty.
Hey, cut it out.
Just as Scott and Alice were getting carried away, Rick showed up. Despite his angry face, Scott and Alice were unfazed. In fact, Scott casually took out his wallet and handed $50 to Lisa.
Lisa is really beautiful, isn't she? She's definitely a winner in life. No doubt about it. Such a girl deserves a little pocket money from her uncle. And Serena, who are modest and have a good personality. Why don't you make a little effort to dress up instead of just studying all the time? Well, I guess it's impossible considering your origins. After all, your mother has also made futile efforts.
Serena's eyes welled up with tears as her aunt and father said terribly harsh things to her. However, Scott continued to repeatedly exclaim, "Lisa is adorable," without paying any attention to that.
Lisa is really lucky to have a beautiful mother. Serena, having a mother like that must be the worst. Lisa is as happy as Alice. Serena ended up like Marie. What a poor girl.
"Stop it, Dad." Serena's eyes pleaded. Unable to voice her thoughts, Serena's tear-filled eyes sent out an SOS. But Scott continued to ignore it, continuing to praise Lisa and belittle Serena along with Alice. "That's enough." At that moment, I unexpectedly raised my voice loudly. Having reached the limit of tolerating Serena's tears, I silently took Serena's hand and left the in-laws' house. I'm so angry. I'm boiling with rage. I won't forgive them, absolutely. We usually stay overnight at the in-laws' house, but with something like this happening, there's no way we would stay. As soon as we got home, there were consecutive calls from my mother-in-law, Adele, and Rick. The two of them kept apologizing profusely. But it's not the fault of the in-laws or Rick. The in-laws seemed hesitant to say anything directly to Alice's face, but it looked like they were saying something to their own son, Scott, probably giving him a lecture. Yet, Scott just grinned away. While Alice is certainly infuriating, I think that's something Rick should handle. But Scott is different. Without even bothering to chase after us when we returned home, he just stayed overnight at his parents' house. Serena and I talked it over and made a decision. The night after the incident at the in-laws, Scott finally came back. "I'm home," he said casually, walking into the house. Of course, I didn't say welcome back. Silence was my response. As expected, Scott was grinning. With that grin still on his face, he peeked into the living room and glanced around.
Is Serena in her room?
"Serena isn't here," I replied, then checked the clock and frowned.
She's still not back. It's already 10 at night. Even if she had tutoring, it's too late.
In response to Scott's words, I deliberately let out a loud sigh and stood up from the sofa. While heading towards the fridge, I told Scott, "She's not here anymore."
What?
Scott tilted his head, unable to understand what I was saying. While confirming that in the corner of my vision, I opened a can of beer. A crisp sound echoed through the room as I popped it open.
What do you mean she's not here? Did she go to a friend's house to sleep over?
It means exactly what it sounds like. She's no longer in this house.
What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
She said she doesn't need a despicable father like you and left.
Left to where?
Well, I wouldn't know about that.
Why are you so calm about this? And you call yourself a mother?
Unfortunately, I am a pity mother.
You've got to be kidding me. Who would take that seriously?
I'm telling you, it's not a joke. Unable to contain myself, I slammed the can down into the sink. A loud, dull sound echoed. I glared at Scott. Jokes are supposed to be funny for everyone.
What? Seriously, Madover?
Your jokes aren't funny at all. You and Alice might have been laughing, but no one else was. How is that a joke when not a single other person found it amusing?
That's because you and
Making your daughter cry with your so-called jokes. What kind of joke is that?
I just thought, she might get motivated from it.
No child would ever be motivated by that.
But, I mean,
Shut up. Your actions have been more than enough for our daughter to abandon you.
abandon me. Serena abandoned me.
That's why she ran away from home, isn't it?
Is that so?
Doesn't he understand that if he doesn't stop here, he'll do something irreversible? It's pathetic. With a pale face, Scott grabbed my arm, but I coldly brushed him off.
What should I do?
How should I know?
Do you think she'll forgive me if I apologize?
After all the things you've done to Serena over the past dozen years, it won't be that easy. My words seemed to strike a chord with him. Scott was speechless, and then, "I'll go look for her outside," he said and rushed out. He does worry when his daughter goes missing. How disappointing after saying it was useless and no good. But it's too late now. After seeing Scott off, I returned to the room and picked up my bag. It was so heavy it seemed like I was going on a trip, even though I sent most of them by parcel delivery during the day. I only kept what seemed immediately necessary at hand, but it's still quite a lot. I lifted the bag with a grunt and left the house. Confirming that Scott wasn't around, I stepped out onto the main street and hailed a taxi. The destination was,
What's going on? Why isn't your luggage here?
the first thing Scott said when he called. His voice was loud enough to be heard even with the phone far from my ear. After letting Scott's voice fade away, I put the phone back to my ear and said, "Well, since I moved them out, obviously they're not here."
Move them out. Where on earth to?
It was another loud voice, so I moved the phone away from my ear again. Feeling annoyed, I decided to switch to speakerphone. I placed the phone on the table, took a sip of tea, and then said, "I don't think it's necessary to tell you where I'm going. Anyway, I'm leaving too, so good luck living on your own."
No way. Are you kidding me? Do you think you'll be forgiven for doing something like this?
You must be happy now that your disappointing wife is gone.
You're really persistent. That's why I said it was a joke.
He's still calling it a joke. Just as I was about to raise my voice to Scott, who seemed completely unrepentant.
Dad, your jokes aren't funny at all. You can't hurt your daughter and expect laughter to come out of it.
Serena shouted from the side. Scott was taken aback. In a panicked voice, he yelled, "Serena, wait, are you with Mom?"
Yeah, Mom and I are at Grandpa and Grandma's house.
Grandpa and Grandma. Wait, at Marie's parents' house?
Yes, that's exactly it. Serena and I are at my parents' house in the neighboring ward. Got it. I'll come pick you up now. Let's all talk together then, Scott said and hung up the phone. Fine by me, but I wonder if he's prepared to have a discussion. I turned around and thought so. After about 10 minutes, Scott arrived by car, and he was speechless.
Why is everyone gathered here?
It's no wonder Scott was surprised. After all, at my parents' house, not only my parents, but also my in-laws, Rick, and even Alice and Lisa were present. It's not often that we all gather together outside of major events like weddings or funerals. Seeing this unusual gathering, Scott was left speechless. With a smile, I gestured for him to sit down. "Well, take a seat over here." In the center of the circle formed by me, my parents, Rick, my in-laws, Serena, and Lisa.
Here?
Yes, right there. With an inscrutable smile, I gave him a pointed look, and Scott sat down with a tense expression. By the way, Alice is sitting alone outside of this circle. Now then, do you have anything to say?
I didn't do anything wrong.
Is that all you have to say, making jokes like that? As I pinched his cheek lightly, he winced. Ouch. Rubbing his reddened cheek, Scott spoke up.
Because it was just a joke.
So you think it's okay to crack jokes like that? Scott's attitude was too much for me to handle, so I passed the baton. Then my parents chimed in.
Scott, what do you think a family is As the head of the household, shouldn't you be protecting your family?
I do protect them.
Is ridiculing Marie and Serena the way you protect them? Do you even care about Serena?
Of course. I overflow with love for her.
Is overflowing with love criticizing her every day, comparing her to other kids, and calling her a disappointment?
Scott was left speechless under the glare of my father. Then my in-law spoke up.
What a fool of a son.
What?
Scott was taken aback by the unexpected words from his own parents. The criticism from my in-laws didn't stop.
It seems like our way of raising him was completely wrong. How else could he have turned out like this?
But Adele, Rick turned out fine. Isn't it more appropriate to think that his character is just rotten?
That's right, honey. This kid has always had a tendency to look down on others. We've constantly warned him and even lectured him, but he never listens. I wonder who he takes after. He's truly a disappointing son.
What? You don't have to go that far.
Someone who called his own wife and daughter disappointing has no right to say he's not disappointing. You have no idea how awful it feels until it's said to you. You're just so disappointing in every way.
I'm sorry.
We're not the ones you should be apologizing to.
Yes. Serena, Murray, I was wrong. I'm sorry.
Finally, Scott apologized to me and Serena. Well, I have no intention of forgiving him. But especially after what he said to Serena, I'll never forgive him. I glanced at Serena, and she had a perfect poker face. I couldn't help but smirk at how his apology didn't seem to affect her at all. Scott seemed to notice too.
Serena, I was wrong too.
I was wrong too. What's that supposed to mean?
Finally speaking up, Serena's voice was low. Scott's face turned pale.
So, Dad thinks I'm at fault too. Ultimately, it's because I'm a disappointing daughter, right?
Well,
You think Lisa and Auntie Alice are better than me and my mom, right?
that's not.
So, we're just disappointing wife and daughter, aren't we?
Well,
I feel the same way about having a father like you. We don't need a disappointing father anymore. It's annoying. You should live with Lisa and Auntie Alice.
well, I don't think.
Scott panicked, and then Lisa spoke up.
I don't want to live with such a disappointing uncle either.
Scott was taken aback by Lisa's unexpected comment, but Lisa didn't stop.
Saying awful things about his wife and daughter while favoring his niece. It's unthinkable to call your own family disappointing. You're truly a disappointing uncle.
I'm sorry.
We don't need such a disappointing apology. I hate both Mom and Uncle. I don't even want to see your faces.
Surprised by Lisa's words, Alice's head shot up.
Do you hate Mom too?
Mom, you always make excuses and refuse to admit your mistakes when Dad lectures you. You don't seem to think you're at fault at all. Both you and Uncle are the worst for speaking ill of others. Do you really think you're such good people that you can criticize others? It's not just about being spiritually poor. In my opinion, both of you are the lowest of the low, the worst, and beyond disappointing.
Alice slumped at those words. And Scott, too, dropped his shoulders when Serena said, I hate Dad, too. Well, that's all. I said as a conclusion. Serena and I will continue living at our parents' house. It seems we don't have to transfer schools, and it's convenient to take the bus. So there's no problem.
You're not coming back until high school?
Not until high school starts.
Are you getting a divorce?
Who knows? It's up to you from now on. Being abandoned by the family was probably not something Scott had anticipated. Scott hung his head, his face pale with shock. Later, Rick apparently gave Alice a stern talking to. Fed up with Alice's behavior up to now, they decided to live separately. In other words, they kicked Alice out of the family home. Since Alice's real parents are already deceased, she has nowhere to go back to and will have to live on her own from now on. Alice seems to be quite shocked, but I don't think people like her can change. It will probably end in divorce. Lisa seems to be quite happy about her mother leaving. Lisa smiled and said to Serena, "Let's continue to get along well." They hugged each other. As for Scott, for a while, there were daily apology calls and messages, but when I said it's annoying, he stopped voluntarily. Even though he never listened to anything I said before, he shouldn't think he'll be forgiven just because he finally listens now. He's been faithfully paying living expenses and child support, so he better show some sincerity from now on. However, it's doubtful whether he'll be able to attend his daughter's wedding. As for Serena, she's relieved to be free from her father's harsh words and is enjoying her days. I'm happy to see her smile more often. My work is going well and I am living a fulfilling life. It looks like I won't need Scott's support for my living expenses from now on. I smirk when I think about the future.